New Garnier Men Acno Fight Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.
In a week from now, we'll be done with the semi-finals of the World Cup, and the race for those semi-final spots is now where India's attention lies. We build up to India versus Zimbabwe at Chepauk in a little while from now, but we also recap the team that's making a serious surge towards those semi-finals. South Africa looks some team. They've brushed aside the West Indies much like they did India in Ahmedabad. So it's a double header on Thursday, and we have you covered on ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Garnier Men. And what a power-packed panel assembled together. Two great players of their times. You're still playing, I know, Faf du Plessis, and
two leg spinners.
Two leg spinners. Two centurions in England. Oh, there are so many things. Two former RCB captains.
Oh, wow, yes.
So many things that stitch the great Anil Kumble and Faf du Plessis together. But your paths almost tragically never crossed.
No.
You finished just before Faf started.
Yes.
Was there ever the odd tour game in your many, I think 4 tours to South Africa? Did you ever see a young Faf du Plessis in and around?
I don't remember actually.
I don't think so.
Let me flip it around. Did you see the great Anil Kumble? Was he still a bespectacled Anil Kumble in 92, 96?
92, no, only 92.
Unfortunately not.
Didn't even go to the India games.
Unfortunately, I've always admired and respected him from far. And when he was coaching, I was maybe think I passed the cross, but
Yeah.
finally it's crossed.
Yeah, it's good to have him. I mean, I thought he would still be there. I think he certainly would make it into that side that beat West Indies today. I'm sure.
That's a good team.
That's high
It's
praise.
a good team. No, but
No, thank you.
But yeah,
They're just carrying on from the legacy that Faf du Plessis has set.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
amongst his many successes, Aiden Markram, who's just spoken at Ahmedabad, Faf, as a player of the match, as captain, in what really is perhaps the strongest case South Africa have made to go all the way with another commanding win. You must be very pleased.
Look, South Africa, if you go back to the previous World Cup as well, they were exceptional in that World Cup as well. So the consistency they are playing in World Cup cricket at the moment is unbelievable. Unbeaten that competition, this competition again, they're unbeaten again. Aiden Markram leading really well from the front, but as a team, you can look at them and going, every single one of those players are on really good touch. Everyone's got runs, everyone's bowling well, so as a unit they must be pumping with confidence.
You've both, of course, followed and seen Aiden Markram closely. That's 350 plus scores now for the South African captain in this World Cup. Is there a level up you're seeing in Aiden Markram, the batter? Anil, you first, Faf, you as well.
And the consistency, I think, he's always been a class player. When you look at an Aiden Markram, you don't sort of see that, you don't need that kind of a brute power. He hits it so smoothly and he's so pleasing on the eye. The consistency and the ability to just convert those 20s, 30s to big scores like this, and then that's also reflecting on his captaincy. I think he's been really outstanding in this tournament so far. The chats that he's had with his bowlers, ensuring that during and whenever that happens, you've seen that the bowlers come back and pick up a wicket. So obviously there's something happening there, the strategy there, probably re-emphasizing, because sometimes you, in the heat of the moment, you tend to forget the plans, and then you get hit for a couple of boundaries. Probably the skipper is just going there and saying, hey, you know what, this is what we're doing. And all his bowlers, I mean, they're all seasoned bowlers, but they've responded exceptionally well.
What do you attribute his consistency to, if anything?
Yeah, I'd like to go back a little bit further. I mean, with Aiden Markram, it was always there. In the beginning, when we looked at him, he was this composed, stylish, very mature young guy. And I straight away saw the leadership that was on his career. And within the team, we knew that there was something special coming from him. Initially in his early stages of his career, he had brilliances in terms of like great 20s and 30s and 40s. And there was a frustration around the fans in South Africa that, can he just take it a little bit more? Can he just go a little bit deeper? Because they can see it's there. But inside the dressing room was, this guy needs to be back because he's that good. Regardless of averages and runs. Certain players, you just get a feel for it. I mean, Jacques Kallis was a great example. He also didn't do well in the start of his career. So it's that backing early on that people could see he could really play. And from a leadership perspective, exactly the same. Well beyond his years. And I remember very clearly there was a point post my captaincy where I was a big fan of pushing Aiden to do all format captain, because he was, in my eyes, it was a no-brainer. But there was a period where South Africa went to other captains in terms of different formats, and now it's like they've gone back to, he's the white ball captain of the 50 over team and the T20 side, and he's doing an amazing job. You can just see his record speaks for itself. Even the competition SA20, he's won it there twice with a local team there. So from a captaincy perspective, he's doing a lot of good things.
SA20 wins, of course, that inaugural Under-19 World Cup win, which put him on the map in many ways. World Test champion, having played a big part in Zimbabwe's team, and who knows now? Who knows? Shall we say it? Shall we call it yet? South Africa hot favourites for the tournament.
Hot favourites.
Yeah, because the finals in Ahmedabad.
Sorry.
Oh, someone's calling you.
My watch seems to be saying it's not a very smart watch.
It's listening. It's listening to what you're saying.
Someone's always listening today. But we have to accept, after India, Anil, and the West Indies now, also the final to be played at Ahmedabad, where they're so well familiar now, they are favourites of the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, they've been sort of had the luck of the draw, if you so to speak.
Yes.
They've been in Ahmedabad. The only other place that they have travelled to has been Delhi. And even now, when they play Zimbabwe, they'll go to Delhi and then possibly
So
Kolkata.
it's basically just a semi-final that will have them travel to a new venue.
Correct.
Yeah.
Possibly there. And then, so yes, they certainly have played really fantastic cricket. They've been in trouble against India. They were, 20 for 3.
Yes,
and then from there on to get to 180 plus and then bowl India out the way they did. The bowling unit has been really, really good. I think that to me determines a tournament. Yes, the batting has always been there, but the consistency of their bowling efforts have been fantastic.
Yeah, I brought it up in the last game as well, the luck of the draw. One venue, one team. It's just tilts the scale so badly.
Yeah,
in India, poor things have to travel from one venue to the next.
And my comment back to you was, it's about time. So now the wheels.
It almost feels like that India is thanking South Africa, or at least making them comfortable.
I feel like back the previous World Cup, everyone was complaining like, how can India get everything they want, and now it's South Africa's turn to say, how can South Africa play at Ahmedabad all their games?
India have not got everything they want as far as where their position goes, but it's not bad. It's a result that they wanted, funny enough. It in some ways will negate net run rate, unless of course we go to situations such as washouts or other upsets, if we can call that, if Zimbabwe get the better of South Africa. But we'll come to India-Zimbabwe in a moment. Quick chat on the West Indies as to why this was so easy for South Africa, who had their moments. West Indies, they bailed themselves out of a tough spot, Anil. But selections were interesting today to bring in the off-spinner for Akeal Hussain, who we thought was a big part of their T20 team.
Yeah, and the power play. I mean, power play bowling was all about Akeal Hussain, and suddenly you've removed one part of it, a major part of that power play. And then I thought Jason Holder is generally a new ball bowler. I know he's done different roles for different teams and different franchises, but today he didn't open the bowling. Akeal Hussain's not playing. I know it's Ahmedabad, it's not say a Colombo or in other, Wankhede as well. He bowled exceptionally well against Zimbabwe. So Akeal Hussain is your power play bowler. He's not playing, and then Romario Shepherd opens the bowling. So yes, a bit strange, but their batting effort, I thought, was really good. Despite losing 7 wickets, they continued to go after the bowling, and then had that 8th wicket partnership. They bat deep. They are powerful. They started off really well, but credit to the South African bowlers. They pegged West Indies back to ensure. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have scored 200 plus, the way the power hitting sort of list of batters that they have.
I mean, they bat deep. So even if you get 6 wickets, which is what you got today, 84 for 6, I think it was, and they still got 170. So the West Indies can bat, but do you sense how deep they go in the tournament, Faf, could eventually come down to their bowling?
Yeah, and I've said that a few times. I think the seam department is the area where they are at their weakest. So if that's one of the areas where you feel as a team, perhaps it's not your strength, I then look at tactically what can you do to make that into your favour. And we speak about Akeal Hussain as a guy that strikes in the power play. So for me, your first thing you're looking at there is the matchup between Aiden Markram against left-arm spin. There is an opportunity to try and target him with left-arm spin early, so there's an option there that they could have gone for in terms of selection. And the other one is they went with Roston Chase, which makes sense because there is also 3 left-handers. But then again, Quinton de Kock to off-spin is a good opportunity to use him in the power play as well. So I feel like regardless of those two selections, there was an opportunity there to go, what is a good matchup against either of these two, and try and get them out, because both of them are really good players of seam bowling. They attack the ball, and on a wicket like that, it was a very good wicket.
Yeah.
I was surprised how easy South Africa ran through that top five. Just a little bit of bounce, but it looked like a really good wicket, and you can see their method was long batting lineup. We're going to go extremely hard and be very, very attacking. So no judgment in that, but there was a few soft dismissals in that top five.
But if I asked you to pass judgment on that, it seemed like it was committed to their approach even if they were 80 for 6. Now you got to 170 and you think, wow, that's quite commendable if you're going to keep playing like that. But if you play like that and it goes pear-shaped in a semi-final.
And that's the luxury of a long batting lineup. So you can understand their method and their madness, but we have also said that for West Indies to be successful in their batting approach, you need that one batter just to set up the innings for them. And that's where King and Hope play such a big role in the opening partnership, because they have so much power right through. So they did a great job in bringing the game back, and they got a score that was bowlable at, but you feel it was still 20 runs short on that venue.
I wonder if Darren Sammy, and I know that coaches like to take this sort of analysis, and I'll ask a former head coach and yourself, Anil. Our stats team dug up that before today, it took at least 32 false shots from a batting side to get you 7 down. That's the average. So that's how you measure your risk versus reward when you play the kind of cricket the West Indies do. However, in this particular game, it took just 17 false shots for 6 or whatever, 7 wickets. So you almost look back and say, you know what, we got a bit unlucky today.
I think Faf mentioned it. There were quite a few soft dismissals there.
Right.
Too early playing those shots on a wicket like that. There was a little bit of bounce that Rabada, South African bowlers are all tall, so they will certainly get some bounce, especially with the new ball. There was not much lateral movement. It's a day game. So I thought they were a bit early in their shots, especially Hetmyer, because he's been the key at number 3. Since the time that he's been promoted, he's batted superbly for West Indies. So somebody like a Chepauk or a Hetmyer had to bat slightly longer for them to get the power hitters come and do their role. Even Rutherford, hit a 6 and the next ball slightly away from him, top edge. So I thought they were a bit early in their shots, some soft dismissals. Yes, Darren Sammy will think that, look, there was no point in getting to 120 and getting bowled out. You would rather go hard and then see if things can happen. They did get there. So the positive thing is that despite being 82 for 6, they got to 170 plus. That's a good part. So I'm sure they'll take some learnings from here.
Quick word on that for Holder and Shepherd. That's a record stand.
Yeah.
It's the highest 8th wicket stand in all men's T20Is. Now, we know Holder's all format proper cricketer, but I think Shepherd's batting seems to also have gone up a level. Is it fair to say?
Yeah, so Shepherd and Holder would, in most teams, can bat 7. That's how good their batting is. So that's the luxury that the West Indies batting lineup is. They have a longer batting lineup. These guys are batting at 9 and 8. And Shepherd in T20 cricket now has shown, for RCB they use him 5, 6 sometimes. It's that entry point that he comes in. He's no longer just a slogger anymore. So that's definitely their strength. Their strength is long batting lineup, fully power packed. If they can set it up, they'll get big scores. But for me, it's that bowling. What are they going to do against the powerful batting lineups?
All right, very good from those two. Very good from South Africa's quicks as well. And I think even now, it's all there. When you go to Ahmedabad and play South Africa, Lungi Ngidi is going to bowl pace off. You know the plan. Not everyone's able to take it down though.
That's also another good observation. If you look at the previous method in the way that South Africa bowled at West Indies, what was it, 69 slow balls or something?
Yeah, it was almost there. For Ngidi, specifically.
So it was an incredibly high percentage of slow balls, and we spoke about West Indies being a good slower ball batting unit. They play really against the slow balls, and the way that the South African bowling attack adjusted their style of bowling, there wasn't as many slow balls today on the same venue. And it was a lot of extra pace and bounce that got most of the wickets.
Yeah, Rabada switched on. And of course, you worked with Rabada, you played with Rabada, but you get a switched on Rabada, he's fun.
Oh yeah, his lengths were outstanding. All he needs to do is run in and bowl those test match lengths, and then he's in business. And that's exactly what happened. He picked up those 2 wickets in that 1 over, shifted the momentum back to South Africa, and then West Indies never came back into the game.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining, almost a highlight reel of the first 7 overs. The 6-4 wicket, 6-4 wicket, it was just going that way. That was good fun though, and it sets up a really nice final Super 8 clash between the West Indies and India when we get to the Eden Gardens. I won't ask for a prediction right now, but that's very strong South African performance. I'll be very pleased with that. They'll take a bit of a breather from Ahmedabad now and find out how the rest of the Super 8 plays out to know who their semi-final opponents will be and of course how the rest of this group shapes up. All eyes now on Chennai, where the toss has just taken place. India versus Zimbabwe, and remember this was the game that was built up as potentially India v Australia at Chepauk, but Sikandar Raza's men had other plans. Sikandar Raza has won the toss and he has put India in. So India will bat first. Anil Kumble, last time you were with us was the India-Pakistan game.
Yes.
A lot has happened since.
I know.
Yeah. How much pressure, if I can put it, do you sense that the Indian team is in ahead of this game, and also now that they're put in to bat at the Chepauk?
I think it's not a bad thing to go in and bat first. I know Chennai, the pitch has changed since the time that we have seen Faf play for CSK. It's changed. It's changed. It's probably one of the possibly better batting surfaces that you have seen in this World Cup. So India should relish that. I know there's pressure on India, but the result of South Africa and West Indies will help them. They don't need to worry too much about the net run rate.
Sure.
Yes, there could be a potential upset or rain, but that's not in your control. So I think it's easier to just go in there and then get a big score, which Chennai will allow, and the batting lineup is capable of. I thought they've been a bit circumspect throughout this tournament. Yes, they didn't adjust to the Wankhede pitch against USA, and since then they've been sort of not really there. Before the World Cup came in, the bilateral sort of gave them the freedom to just go there and play. So you need that kind of freedom, and today with possibly Sanju coming back into that lineup will possibly help them do that.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm the teams in just a moment for you once we have them. We have heard some team news in the build-up to these days about the possibility of the return of Sanju Samson, Rinku Singh with a family emergency, and therefore we'll come to all that in just a little while from now. Just a reaction on the toss decision though. Sikandar Raza put the West Indies in and I think regretted it, albeit after a few drop catches. Ball was flying around at the Wankhede. Are you surprised in any way that he's chosen to bowl again against India?
Yeah, I'd like to get Maruf ask him about the wind like he did last night, because generally when you talk about chasing at Chepauk and the dew factor, so I'm not sure this time of the year is the dew factor playing a role there. I read an article about a spray that they're bringing in for the Chepauk to bring down the dew factor from the America somewhere. So just want to check if is that this time of the year, is it a factor dew or is it only in the IPL?
No, there is certainly dew because the temperature sort of slightly drop, although not much in Chennai, but generally you get a little bit of dew. But we haven't seen that much dew in Chennai when teams have played in the evening.
Because in the IPL, it was a big dew factor, wasn't there? So a lot of teams are talking about you have to chase there because it's such a big difference in terms of the dew. So I can think that's one of the reasons maybe that Sikandar Raza has decided to do that.
Yeah, there's some familiarity. Raza has played at the Chepauk enough. In fact, one game for Punjab were you head coach that year?
No.
Or just after? Yeah. But he played a terrific game at the Chepauk. It was a high chase that they managed to get. So it's a good chasing ground, that we do know, of the MA Chidambaram Stadium. For what it's worth though, I just picked up some visuals of KT Martin and Dinesh Karthik on the pitch report, and both of them had their hair flying a little bit. So that's to your wind question, if you'd like. Again,
so should we find him and see if there's going to be dew?
It's still Colombo is still a fair way away, further south, closer to the equator than Chennai is. Quick response on the surface choice though. I believe a black soil surface. Now black soil at the Chepauk still a lot better, you'd sense, Anil, than say black soil at Ahmedabad, which India did not enjoy against South Africa.
Yeah, I think Chennai over the years, at least the last couple of years, the pitch has changed.
Much so.
Since they've sort of moved to that black soil, it's a lot more easier, not too many spinner friendly pitches that you're going to get. So the batters should enjoy the ball coming on. There's consistent bounce. Yes, the side boundaries can be slightly bigger, one of them at least. I mean, the batters have played enough there, so the surface will be even throughout the competition, throughout the rest of the game. So I don't think there will be much change unless there's a little bit of dew that may come in later on. Otherwise, I think it's a good
Definitely
surface.
wish that I played a bit more on the black soil
Yeah.
back in the day there, because it was not the black soil there. It was a
It was
spin
not.
it to win it. So your 130 strike rate was worth gold.
Yeah, I want more stories about your time with CSK and how good those pitches were and how they suddenly just team.
No, it was just a case of literally the tactics was pick 4 or 5 spinners and spin it
Yeah.
to win it. I mean,
Yeah.
you would have loved bowling on that,
Yeah.
because you actually got to the pitch and you go, oh, it's going to be one of those days.
Funny enough, as we look at the Chepauk in this World Cup, it's a high scoring venue. New Zealand had chased 180 plus. In fact, the game that the surface that this game's been played on is the same as the New Zealand and Afghanistan played. It was a day game back then, but it was a 180 pluser. Both teams got 180. New Zealand got it in pretty decent time. And the other interesting part is if we look at the degrees of turn at the Chepauk in comparison to other venues in this particular World Cup, it's somewhere in the middle. At number 5, the Wankhede has turned more Anil Kumble in this World Cup than the Chepauk.
Surprising.
Yeah, I know. We saw that when West Indies played, and yesterday was even, 6 degrees, so 4 times that.
That's
so
crazy for
yeah,
Wankhede.
yeah, it was.
And
Wankhede
does that
is
surprise you, or does
smart.
that make sense with what you've learnt of this new Chepauk?
I think the new
surface?
Chepauk certainly doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it's been good surfaces. We saw, it's the same surface that Afghanistan and New Zealand played.
That's right.
Although it was a day game, I'm sure it'll be a high-scoring game.
Okay, now on that note, India made some changes. Much talked about team selection, and Washington Sundar was preferred in the opening Super 8 game against South Africa. Well, Sanju Samson returns, soon to be a CSK boy, at this ground in about a month's time after a high-profile trade. For now, he's got to do a job with Abhishek Sharma. We presume, Anil Kumble, that Ishan Kishan will therefore drop to number 3 and keep the gloves, or it might actually be Samson with the gloves and Kishan in the outfield. Aksar for Washington Sundar. Your
I think
thoughts?
that's something that India should have done even in the previous game. I was surprised that Aksar was dropped, and I can understand the thinking behind it. But matchups, yes, but not someone like Aksar Patel.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that he's back. Rinku is missed out, obviously for family reasons. Sanju coming back, I think, is a good thing. Ishan Kishan at 3, I think, is a good thing. You have the right-left combination at the top. There should be some sort of breathing space for Abhishek Sharma, someone bowling off spin.
Unless he gets the first ball of 1.
Yeah, possibly. so I don't know. I think Sanju will certainly come good. He's a good player. I know he missed out on that bilateral series, but he should do a good job.
It is obviously not as per plan, but you're replacing a low middle order, almost a specialist middle order hitter like Rinku with a top order opener like Samson. How much does that, what are the pros of that? We spoke of the off-spin issue. The cons are possibly Tilak Verma could be batting as low as 5, which presents its own unique difficulties.
Yeah, so first of all, Aksar Patel, I agree, right decision. When people talking about all the left-handers and left-arm spin can't bowl against left-hand batters, your top spinners can still do a job regardless.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
that good. They've done it for all the years. It's a very new thing that's crept into T20 cricket. I do like breaking up all the lefties at the top. I think that is almost like what's happened because of the off-spin. They have to go that route. So that makes sense. Well, a question I would like to ask the two of you is, looking from the outside, the team that they had planned for before the World Cup and where they are finding themselves now, it feels like from a role perspective, it's very different. Because Tilak Verma, the top 3 was going to be left-handers. Now all of a sudden you've got Sanju coming from 5, possibly to the top. You've got Tilak possibly going to 5.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movement in terms of like role play, and if you look at the teams that are doing well, it's a very set batting lineup.
Anil, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think that's a fair call, because that's something that India haven't really been able to manage. And yes, they certainly look at a long batting lineup. Someone like Aksar coming in at 8, they need that. But I agree that if you want to break it up, the role clarity hasn't been there with someone like Tilak at 3 early on, and now possibly 5, 4, or even 6, who knows, depending on who's batting at the other end. If it's Sanju, maybe Tilak may come in, but if it's Ishan Kishan or an Abhishek Sharma, then maybe Hardik or Surya will come in and Tilak will be pushed down.
Because
so road clarity is extremely important.
Ishan wasn't involved initially, right? So he's come in lately.
Yeah.
Samson was batting 5 initially.
Yeah.
Now he's been dropped off. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot of moving parts
So
there.
if we set up the story, the funny part about this story around Indian cricket is that it was basically once they pivoted back to the keeper will open, which was after the Asia Cup. Because Shubman Gill was brought in to bring in a different
Yes,
type
he was
of
also
batter.
there, yes.
Yes.
And he was named vice captain, and we thought that he'd be the kind of batter that perhaps, funny enough, after the Ahmedabad game, there was some chat of the kind of batter you needed in Shubman Gill. Now, whether Shubman Gill was ready as that batter, whether his returns in the Asia Cup justify that or not, that's a separate debate, and now it's moot, he's not in the squad. But when they went back to the opening keeper, that's when you saw Samson and Kishan one will be in your 11 and one will be your reserve keeper. Kishan leapfrogging Sanju Samson was almost it became a last minute form call, and you can totally understand a call made on form. His red hot form, at the same time Sanju's fairly middling returns. So now the off spin issue seems to be an issue that they didn't think was a major concern. Abhishek can take it down off spin, or Kishan can take down off spin. That is where India find themselves in now. What I would ask in response to your question also is another question. If Rinku was fit today, would you have still kept Rinku?
I would have kept
and not
Rinku.
changed the team?
No, I would have kept Rinku and not got Tilak. I would have still brought
You would have
in,
dropped Tilak and
I would
brought
have
in
still
Sanju
brought in
Samson.
Sanju. I
So
would
that's
still
where I'm
brought
coming
in
to my
Sanju.
next point here, because India chose a 15 and chose that the most important backup spots require the backup to Akshar Patel. So there's a Washington Sundar who can be used strategically, although it didn't work in the last game. Backup Seamer, obviously, which is why you have Harshit first and then Mohammad Siraj. And who am I missing in this team? Kuldeep Yadav.
Kuldeep, yeah.
Right? So those are your only 3 spots. So they didn't go for any other batter. There was one batter, specialist batter in the reserves, and that was Samson. So it could have been number 1 in Kishan or number 7 in Rinku. But the reserve batter is Sanju Samson. Now either you bring in Samson and make him play at 7, which India have done
Yes.
in Australia.
Yeah.
But here now comes the off-spin problem.
Yeah.
So after all these things considered,
So basically, it's the way that the cards have fallen
it's
that's
now
made India change.
100%.
Yeah.
It's now what is Gautam Gambhir and Suryakumar Yadav's reaction to what's happening. And if Kishan and Abhishek were still taking down the openers, I don't think they're touching that the off spinner. I don't think they're
it
touching
would have
that.
never been an issue if it wasn't all the. I think is it 8 dismissals so far against off spin. I think that's the number. I heard 8 dismissals of off spin in your top order batting. That is a flipping lot of off spin dismissals. So you've created an issue. And what's nice now is at least the right hander can go, give the off spinner to me, give him to me. Give him to me, Abhishek, give him to me. Don't, just give him to me. Let me take care of him. You take care of the other guys. Just so he finds his feet.
Pretty illustrious list of off-spin victims for this T20 World Cup. Abhishek Sharma twice, Ishan Kishan 3 times, Tilak, Surya and Hardik once apiece. Well done to Shivam Dube, who's actually done well against the off-spin, even though he is one of the many left-handers in this team. Can you explain this
So what's
at all?
that, 7 dismissals?
8, I
8
believe.
dismissals, yeah, that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
So can you explain this at all? Faf said it's a funny one because Kishan is a very good player of off-spin.
Yeah.
Abhishek Sharma can take down off-spin. But it's
Tilak is the interesting one because his numbers actually, I went to go a little bit deeper because, strike rate wise, it's like, it's not as high as you would think. And I looking at the IPL, I have just assumed he's a really good player of off-spin, whereas Kishan and Abhishek, their numbers are really good against off-spin. But I could be corrected here, but I think it's like 100 strike rate for Tilak against off-spin.
It's funny because I remember at one point he was a better player of off spin than he was of the spin that comes
so
into it.
I mean, check that
Leg
for
and
me.
left
Like,
arm.
I'm not sure, but I'm just
Sure.
there's a thing for me there. But now with the right hand spinner, and Sanju is a really good player of spin, isn't he? Like he dominates spin if he's in form.
Yeah,
I think what is happening, yes, of course, off-spin has been a problem. But I think what is happening with this Indian lineup is they've always got good starts. That's not coming through.
Yeah,
So,
which is
so
key.
in a T20 game, that's the key. Good start doesn't necessarily have to be 60 for no loss. You don't want to lose a wicket in the first couple of overs. That's a good start. And then someone like Abhishek Sharma or a Nishan Kishan or now Sanju Samson or a Tilak Verma can kick on from there.
And
But
with
India's-
with a batting lineup like that, it's not like they're not able to catch up either
True.
because there's so much power. Like
Yeah.
it goes so long. The guys, even if they played 2 overs for 10, they will catch up so quickly. But it's not in the nature of someone like an Abhishek to just bat out the
Yeah.
first 6 balls.
Yeah.
What I still don't find making sense, please help me you too with all your wisdom, is I tend to think that teams that have excessive left-handers don't see it as much of a problem. Teams that have excessive right-handers are a little more worried because you have more quality left-arm orthodox spinners and more quality leg spinners at times, or carom ball spinners. But if you have 6 left-handers like India suddenly found themselves with, I don't think anyone went in and said, oh gosh, we have 6 left-handers. They're like, we got 6 left-handers and we can take down all the left-arm spinners and leg spinners of the world. You're getting out to, with due respect, but Salman Agha, Aiden Markram, these guys don't bowl 4 overs. They at best bowl 1 or 2 in the power play, and on a good day they'll get a few more. Why are India still not able to take normal level of spin bowling, not world-class bowlers, world-beating bowlers down?
It's the power of pressure, and the subconscious of how you deal with it. There's so much talk about off spin. All of a sudden, have I got a problem with off spin, coach? Tell me. Like, let me just face a few off spinners here, because you wouldn't have thought that ever. And like, in what world would they be? You're right. What world would they be worried about Aiden Markram bowling to them in the first over of the World Cup? They'll be like, come on, bring it on. But it's the mindset now of, I got out once or twice against the off spinner, so now there's a little bit of doubt creeping in, and you know the worst thing for any cricketer is doubt.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing also is probably the change of pace that comes through early on. I thought against Pakistan it was a surprise move. I don't think Abhishek expected that. Didn't expect an off spinner to run in and bowl the first over. He probably was waiting for Shaheen Shah Afridi. So yes, being prepared, and then once that happened, then suddenly Markram does it. You get out, not Abhishek, but Ishan Kishan gets out. So it's a bit of a thought, and then everyone's talking about it, and it's too good a batter or too good a team to sort of
so
start
should the
thinking
team be
about
talking about it, Anil?
No, not specifics. No, I mean you don't need to. Yes, you
But
need.
this selection is a reaction to
It is.
being
It is a
that
relax.
you're talking to about
No, it is a reaction. It's a reaction because it's not just the top. It's also the spinners have troubled the Indian team. If you look at the middle order,
Yes,
they haven't
correct.
really got going. I mean, they haven't got to a stage where they've gone at 160, 170 strike rate. Yes, today we saw West Indies. I know it was a good surface. Today we saw West Indies, 82 for 6. Yet they ended up getting almost 9 runs and over, whereas India couldn't manage against the same team in similar conditions. So I think it's not just about off spin to the left arm. It's also about taking down spinners, having that ability. I think that's where I said India has been a bit circumspect when it comes to the World Cup, possibly the pressure of the World Cup, and not going the way they expect or they were expected to, because I think the kind of bilateral series batting that India has had against New Zealand, and even the warm-up game against South Africa, India scored 240 or something. So everybody thought that 200 would be the minimum score.
This World Cup is a reminder not to get carried away even in the slightest bit with bilateral T20s or warm-up games. What a reality
Well, that's
check. And a harsh one.
remarkable, and we spoke about it last night with Sri Lanka.
Yes.
I'm sitting here and I'm going, I cannot believe I'm hearing India struggling against spin. Like, I see it as the best players of spin in the world. They grow up in these conditions. And last night we spoke about Sri Lanka, Pakistan not playing spin well. And now I'm hearing India not playing spin. And you hear me saying the guys is playing spin well, New Zealand.
Well,
And so for South Africa, well, they haven't probably had the same conditions, but New Zealand.
100%. England
So
have played it well.
subcontinent conditions, I'm like, am I dreaming? Is this it?
Well, Faf, I'll throw it back at you. The power of pressure.
Yeah.
When India come to the home World Cup with all the billing and the hype around it, not to mention the slightly confident campaigning we've done around defending the crown and whatnot, that is pressure. And perhaps it's telling this is a huge game, and Zimbabwe, if they can add to India's woes today, it'll be the story of the tournament, and it'll be pretty much it for Suryakumar Yadav's side. I mean, this result from South Africa is a good one, but what are Zimbabwe's tactics? And they've gone one extra seamer in the form of Tino Tenda Maposa, out goes Graham Cremer. So you've got an extra seam option at a Chepauk, which we've established is not quite turning as much as the old Chepauks. Tactically sound against India, extra seamer. They do have enough spin in the form of Sikandar Raza, of course, Anil, and a few part-timers.
Yes, but I would have still kept a Cremer because I think he's bowled well. He bowled well Even the other day against West Indies on a tough pitch, he got the ball to turn at the Wankhede, and he's done well for them. So I would have still probably gone with the same team, but they're a good side. You can't take them lightly.
Their new ball bowling is worth looking out for. Who knows if one or two catches could have gone their way in the West Indies game, because Muzarabani and Ngarava, that's the kind of bowling lineup that no opening batters or pairs should take lightly, I guess.
Yeah, so I think when you play against them, you're looking at what are the strengths of this team, and Blessing Muzarabani is one of them. The way that he's bowled, and even at this venue, Chepauk will suit him. There's a bit of bounce, the square boundary is a little bit bigger, so it will definitely suit him. And then you've got possibly Raza that will open the bowling because of the left-hander. But I do believe if you can get yourself in and you can get starts with this batting lineup of India, I don't think there's enough in the Zimbabwean bowling attack to stop India once they get going. So it's just get a base similar to what West Indies do, and then that machine will just roll and be difficult to stop.
Again, I wonder if it will surprise you, or it will be great to know that Zimbabwe have the best average and economy in the power play in this World Cup. That's quite something. Yes, they played a little bit in Colombo, but take nothing away from the efforts of Muzarabani and Ngarava. So India's top order. Watch out. Take your time, perhaps. If you don't take things too lightly.
If you're listening.
If they're listening, yes, of course not. It's just for theatre.
Maybe your mic is plugged in there straight into the earpiece.
Only you South Africans did that back in the 90s. None of that. Right. Should be fun. What also is a great experience for Zimbabwe's batters, the likes of Marumani and Bennett later on, will be when they take on Jasprit Bumrah. It was almost a bit of a forgotten chapter in all that happened in Ahmedabad in the India-South Africa game. But India need their big guns to fire. They will be batting first, but later on, Jasprit Bumrah better be match ready. He is a match ready face with Ghania men acne fight gentle cleanser. Quite amazing actually. We barely got a word on Bumrah in the other night because of everything that followed. 3 for 15 of his 4, so hard to take down. It's funny that some of Bumrah's best efforts and returns, Anil, have actually come in India not winning those games, and there's a list of those across formats even. It's puzzling.
Yeah, it is, but he's a class bowler.
Yeah.
And I thought tactically South Africa were really good that night because they just played out Bumrah. I know they lost wickets to Bumrah early on, even towards the end, but then they played out Bumrah and then ensured that the rest of the bowlers they could sort of go after. They targeted a few bowlers, didn't leave Varun Chakravarti, who's probably the India's go-to bowler.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Zimbabwe go along. Of course, not now, but then when they come to look to chase it down. But Bumrah is a class act. I mean, India will have to depend heavily. If India have to go on and win the trophy, Bumrah will have to play a major role.
When you come up in a team that has Bumrah in the lineup, what's the sort of 2-point or 3-point messaging to the batters? Right, Bumrah's in that team, guys. This is how we plan to manage him.
So the day before the game, you're thinking, whoa, how am I going to play Bumrah? So you're dealing with the monsters already the day before the game because he is that good. He is the world's best bowler for a reason, purely because he's got so many skill sets. So with the new ball, he's got a beautiful wrist, so he can nick you off on the outside and he can also bring the ball back through the stumps. We've seen how good that slow ball is with the new ball. And then you know that he's going to pitch the ball up, and then he bowls you a bumper that hits you straight on the badge as well because of that little flick. So very difficult guy to manage in all facets of the game. New ball, very dangerous. But for me, he's super secret sauce is when he comes back and he's got the old ball in his hand and he's got a defender game, because he is just so good. Like as I said, you know what he's trying to do, but his pace variety is in such a high difference that it's almost impossible to take him down. I can only think of AB de Villiers that's taken him down at the depth. I can't think of too many other players that's got on top of him at the back end.
I think if you go just by IPL innings, then I think Pant has a particularly good record against Bumrah, but if you go internationally, AB is the only one that comes to mind. It'll be a challenge for Bennett and Marumani, who have scored more than 40% of Zimbabwe's runs, so they are reliant on their openers. That's a conversation for later. We also have a very interesting conversation on Varun Chakravarti lined up, because South Africa might have just shown the way to manage and, dare I say, even take down Varun, who's been at the peak of his own powers. But for now, focus on Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma. Big game, Sanju Samson. He gets a score here And who knows, maybe India stick with this team come the West Indies game, Anil?
Yes, it's a big moment for him, because we've seen the talent that Sanju has had. Everyone sort of has given him that opportunity. He opened the batting, he got some runs, and then he was sort of pushed to number 5, like Faf mentioned, and then it didn't work for him, and then suddenly he was under the pump, he got dropped. Shubman Gill came in and opened the batting, and then now he's come back, he opened the batting, he got a fair run, he didn't score runs, and then suddenly Ishan Kishan got runs.
That's a long journey.
So and then he's got an opportunity now. So yes, he has plenty to prove. Everyone knows the talent that is there. He has the experience of playing T20 formats. So it's about time.
Yeah, when we tend to do these long journeys, the ball's about to be bowled, I'm always worried that the setup is that Sanju is going to hit one or nick one first ball. Thankfully, he's just seen it out.
But sometimes we hope that cricket is such a nice game towards the players, right? You think that the story is going to be perfect. It's written in the stars. Sanju Samson makes his return to the Indian team at his new home venue in the IPL. So it is written in the stars. Let me not put the commentators on for him to have a good day.
Well, cricket is kind. Life, on the other hand,
it's not.
And on that note, I believe Samson has kicked things off at the Chepauk for India. So let's get first innings scores from Anil Kumble and Faf du Plessis. Faf, why didn't you go first?
208.
Oh, big score, 200 plus, always good in a World Cup.
Yeah,
Anil?
pretty close to that, 202.
202 and 208, right. You know what I do here, I just throw in, I make you guys look good. So because I want you to be closer to accurate, I will go for 222. A nice little 222.
Run feast.
Well, let's hope for some runs. India certainly need it. They bat deep, they've got extra artillery at the top, and we will revisit where they finish at the end of 20 overs. Thank you very much to Anil Kumble and Faf du Plessis. Join us then for what will be quite a mid-inning show to cover, looking at India's new batting lineup in the must-win game against Zimbabwe. For ESPN Cricket Info Timeout, powered by Ganya Men.
New Ganya Men Acnified Gentle Cleanser.